Okay, today I'm going to talk about the perfect camera. In our pursuit of the perfect camera and perfect lenses and everything else. And I got to tell you that, and I know some of you hate when I pound on YouTube influencer slash photographers, but I kind of have to because you know their job is to push gear, period. No matter what they say, and no matter what kind of, I just got to tell you, stuff in the beginning, it's, they're getting gear to push it. Now, there are a lot of great cameras out there. And I think every camera system on the market today has spectacular cameras, from Fuji to Nikon to Sony. I think they all have absolutely wonderful cameras and do what they're supposed to do for the right photographer. It is a match, not a one camera for all. It's impossible. The funny thing is the Sony, for instance, the Sony A7R4, I had that system. I had the very latest lenses, the Sony 50-1.2, the 135, the new 24. These were just killer lenses. And the files I put out were, sharp and beautiful files, except the color and the handling weren't for me. Now, for how much I shoot, and I shoot a lot. I shoot every day, at least 8 hours a day. I'm constantly working. I need to be completely 100% happy with my system, and I wasn't with that. Same thing with Nikon. Everything about that system, the lenses, the handling, that body, the Z7 II, Z6 II, the handling was so good, but the focusing system, it just didn't match up to the way I shoot. It doesn't mean it was a bad focusing system. It just didn't match to the way I shoot. And believe it or not, that's a thing. Some of the Sony shooters are, the Sony system, we can all admit, it's probably one of the best focusing systems out there. But for me, it didn't work for me. Whatever the quirk was, and I didn't like the handling of the camera. I didn't like the way it felt in the hand. But whatever the scenario is, and maybe it's weird to some, but to me it just didn't work for me. And the Nikons, same thing. I didn't quite like the focusing system. I got more misses than hits, and the files, it was a digital file. To me it was like listening to a CD versus listening to vinyl. Because I've been in this business for so long, and I am picky, and I can afford to be picky, I'm going to get the perfect camera system for me. So I remember when I had the Nikon D1, I'm sorry, it was a D3X. I'm pretty sure it was the D3X. It doesn't matter, but I just remember saying, when I was sitting at my desk the one time and I was shooting seniors, I'm like, this is the last camera I'll ever need. It does everything I need it to do. I shot sports with it, I shot events with it, I shot senior photos with it. I did everything with it. It just worked. But then that Canon 85mm 1.2 got under my skin so badly. I remember seeing the photos from that for the first time, and they were actual prints. They weren't offline or anything. And I was so blown away by the rendering that lens did. It was just magical to me. I think today it's still as magical as it was back then. But the funny thing is you'll have a YouTuber compare the 85 1.2 to the new 85 RF 85, and oh, it's not sharp at all, and it's slow, and it's but back then it was the shit. It was everything. I hate the term game changer because it's used so easily and so readily to every single thing that comes out. There's not many game changers. The game changers came when we got the first digital camera and when we went to mirrorless. They were game changers. Everything else is just an upgrade. Anyway, that 85 1.2 made me switch from Nikon to Canon, and I was a avid Nikon shooter since 1982. you know, when I switched from my Pentax K1000 to Nikon. But I love that lens so much. Anyway, I had to get rid of the whole system a week later. Long story, don't care. I think I mentioned it before. It was just issues with the camera and so forth. They just took everything back, and I went back to shooting Nikon. And sad as can be, I kept that 85 1.2 for almost a year later. Didn't have a camera to shoot on it, but I just loved the lens so much I couldn't get rid of it. Then I finally did. Anyway, I haven't shot Canon since then, and after going through all the systems, and I used them for many different events and portraits and studio and just everything, I settled on the R5. And now this R5 is perfect for me. I still have my Fuji X Pro 3 because I just like shooting it. It's enjoyable to me, but my commercial work and my living comes off the R5 now. And believe me, I'm as shocked as anybody else to say that, because I was so, you know, jaded towards Canon after that experience. But the 51.2 I just got, and I'm kind of praying that it renders the way the 85 did for me, because that was that was a life-moving event for me when I saw those images. And that's what I'm trying to put out there, is that every camera system has a different owner. In other words, the Canon may be perfect for me, and I hear other photographers say, it sucks, it's not for them, or it's just doesn't have this, this, or this. You can get a camera that's 5 years old or 2 years older this year that's going to be perfect for you, and it's not going to matter. Now, a photographer that's shooting on a old first version digital camera that gets a 5-year-old Rebel, that's going to be the best camera system in the world for them, because it's such a huge upgrade and it's such a magical experience to have those bigger files. It's all relative, but when you lock onto a system, it's because you match to the camera, and it shoots the way you shoot, or you like to shoot, not because an influencer told you that it's the best or has the features you need. Find something that's right for you. And I'm telling you, I don't care if you go into a store, if you rent, you need to try each system to see what matches to you. Don't worry about the specs, all the BS that's put out there about the quality or how fast it focuses, because this focus system may not be as fast as a Sony, but when it's in my hands, it's faster than the Sony, if that makes sense. And you'll understand what I mean. I mean, some Fuji users, they are so thrilled with that focusing system, and it works perfectly for them, and it may be extremely fast for them because of the way they shoot. You know, a casual shooter with a Fuji X-T3, X-T4, that's a fast focusing system for them. You put a Hasselblad X1D in their hands and they're like, oh God, this is slow. Or, you know, the Fujis with the contrast detect medium format, they're slow, they're supposed to be. And these camera companies that send them to these influencers, and, you know, these influencers don't shoot professionally. They just have YouTube channels. You know, you can't say that, oh, this camera sucks because it has a slow focusing system. It wasn't made to be fast. It wasn't made for sports. Why would it be? Anyway, so get out there, try the cameras. You know, don't go to YouTube. Get out there and shoot with them, and pick something that works for you. Because I'm telling you, that, like, that system that you buy and that focusing the way you shoot, it's going to be different for everyone. So anyway, I hope this helps. I just want to get this out there because I do still get a lot of comments about this channel and why I'm doing this with this camera, that with that camera. Why wouldn't you get this camera? The camera system matches me, and it may not match you. You know, I can never tell you that the R5 is the greatest camera system in the world. I can only tell you that it works for me right now. It works perfectly for me. The camera that works perfectly for you is going to be totally different, or it could be the same. You won't know unless you try them. Anyway, I hope this helps. I'll talk to you soon, I'm sure.